Let's talk about national security. During the campaign, you said this about Mr. Obama.
Our opponent is someone who sees America as imperfect enough to pal around with terrorists who targeted their own country.
The president has escalated the war in Afghanistan. He has launched more drone attacks in his first year than George W. Bush did in 8 years. Given what he's done as president, do you take back palling around with terrorists?
No, I don't, because his associations with Bill Ayers and with others, he never really has, I think, adequately addressed why in the world he would have a relationship with a type of person like that.
Well, I don't think you've adequately addressed your relationship with a certain Alaskan secessionist, otherwise known as Todd Palin, your fucking husband. Have you not addressed that? Can I not call him a terrorist of sorts? You using scare tactics against the public, are you not a terrorist as well, you fucking cunt? Does your shit not stink? Do you never have a thought go through your head that you're like, no, that's stupid? Instead, it just goes through and then directly out your fucking mouth, and it's the only reason you have any attention whatsoever. You know, if Barack Obama and Joe Biden had lost the election to McCain and Palin, do you think anyone would be paying any attention to Joe Biden? No, because he doesn't say nearly as many stupid things as Sarah Palin, and that's why people watch you, you dumb fuck. That's why I watch you. That's why the thousands of people that watch this video watch you. They're waiting for you to say the next dumb thing. It's the next train wreck. It's the Glenn Beck phenomenon, the Venom Fang X syndrome. People want to watch the train wreck.
Who had such disdain for America that he would want to bomb, harm, hurt, kill Americans.
But hasn't he done,
so
hasn't he done a good job in protecting the country?
As president in protecting the country, more power to him. We appreciate that he kind of went there fully with the commanders on the ground asking for more reinforcements in Afghanistan. Couldn't get there all the way with these guys, but kind of went there. Good, more power to you. And I speak as a military mom too, saying, thank you. You're giving me a little bit more of a secure knowledge that you're looking out for our troops and the things that their commanders are asking for. I'm thinking kind of my son in this situation. Thank you for doing that. However, there are many things that he is doing today that cause an uneasiness in many, many Americans. I'm one of those who looks at the way that he is treating the trials of these terrorists and kind of as, gosh, they're on a crime spree right now. No, we are in war. These are acts of war that these terrorists are committing. We need to treat them a little bit differently than an American who is worthy, an American being worthy of our U.S. constitutional rights. I don't think the terrorists are worthy of our rights that people like my son fight and are willing to die for.
Well, apparently, bitch, you don't believe in what America stands for. America doesn't stand for torturing people or doing those kind of things, you know, cutting people's heads off or just executing them or treating them like war criminals. Now, first of all, we're not in a time of war. You know, there's no declared war. It's the same bullshit as like Vietnam. You know, we don't really declare fucking war that often. But for you to say that, you know, oh, well, Americans are scared and America should do this, you don't even know what America stands for. The whole point is to not treat them like they would treat us. Like, we have a higher standard. That's the whole fucking point. But you don't want to do that. You're just like, oh, well, they did it, so we can do it. Like, I've heard so many conservatives like, oh, you think that they wouldn't waterboard you? Well, dude, that's not the fucking point. The whole point is that we are not supposed to do the same to them that they would do to us. We're supposed to be a little bit better. But we're not at all. We are, in fact, the worst. It's embarrassing to be an American in these times when all these proud Americans aren't really about America at all. They don't know what it fucking means.
The unemployment rate fell to 9.7% in January. The growth rate of the economy, 5.7% in the fourth quarter. Doesn't President Obama deserve some credit for that?
Very happy to hear about that minuscule decrease there in the unemployment rate, but better that than a growing unemployment rate. The point is, though, that we have lost millions and millions and millions of jobs as we have incurred greater and greater debt and deficit. Debt that I believe is immoral because we're handing the bill to our children. They're going to have to pay for our needs and some of our wants today, and I think that is unfair.
Well, let's see. Clinton was the only president in history that ever gave us a national surplus, and you're always talking about the deficit, while it was George Bush that ran our deficit into the fucking ground. And that's the reason it has to go even further now to try and restabilize our economy. But ignore all of that shit and just like be play the fucking card, our children have to pay for it card, dude. There won't be anything left for the children if they don't have... We're paying for fucking mistakes from the past. Our kids are going to have to fucking pay for mistakes from our fucking present. That's the way the shit goes. The fact that you think you have it figured out cracks me the fuck up. I mean, I think I have it understood to a degree, but I'm not going on Fox News. I'm not receiving all this fucking attention. I have it figured out better than you, guaranteed. Guaranteed 90% of the people that watch this video will have it figured out way better than you do, Sarah Palin, but somehow you get the fucking attention. You. Because you have so many fucking quirks and weird things that just some people love and most of us hate.
The point being, millions of jobs have been lost because I think, Chris, what's coming from the White House is just a fundamental difference from a lot of conservatives in our belief that government is not the answer. The bailouts, the takeovers of the private sector, that's not the answer. That is not what built this great country into the most prosperous, healthiest, safest country on earth.
P.S. She's a creationist, and she thinks the world is 6,000 years old, and the United States is not the promised land.
Let's turn to Sarah Palin, because there are some questions, quite frankly, I've wanted to ask you for a while now. In your book, Going Rogue, you say that when you first heard that you were pregnant with baby Trig, you wrote this: I'm out of town, no one knows I'm pregnant, no one would ever have to know. You made the choice to have Trig, and it obviously, you were showing me earlier pictures of him, it was the right choice for you. Why not allow all women to make their own choice?
Well, I believe that these babies in our womb have the right to life, and that's what I stand on.
I hate to get into the abortion thing, but hey, they brought it up, right? Look, if the baby has the right to life, that's fine. But a lot of the times, the baby is not going to form correctly, and it's going to be a terrible life. Or the baby might form in a way that is dangerous to the mother, and it endangers her life. And you are somehow saying that the deformed baby that's going to kill the mother has more rights than the mother who's already, might have other children to take care of and other shit like that. And you're going to put her health in risk. Regardless, you are one of those 100% don't care if it's incest or rape, like no abortions kind of people. But at the same time, you are never around, I guess, to take care of your Down syndrome kid. It's not your problem, pretty much. You only have to probably deal with him an average of like 10 minutes a day. Wow. Such a fucking big struggle you're fucking going through with your handicapped child. I'm sure every other mother in America can just have someone else take care of the fucking kid. Fuck you.
And I did. I honestly, candidly talked about that in my book when I said, I can understand the sensitivity of the issue because I've been there. I've understood why that fleeting thought would enter a woman's mind. And then when I found out that after ultrasounds, after tests, that Trig would be born with Down syndrome, of course that thought occurred to me again. Wow, this is why a woman would be fearful of less than ideal circumstances and maybe think that a quote-unquote problem could just be swept away. And instead, I was able to kind of ratchet back my fears very quickly and remember that, no, so many of us who have that fundamental belief in the sanctity of life, in the potential for every human innocent life, I got to fall back on that, and that did lead me to make the right decision in allowing this baby to be born, and this baby now turning out to be the best thing that has ever happened to me and my family.
She also ended up naming her babe Trig, which is, fine, except for when in talking in medical terminology and you get all this paperwork when you have a Down syndrome kid and shit, they often refer to it as trisomy G. Trisomy G is one of the terminologies. I'm not any kind of medical expert. I'm not going to pretend to be. But I do know that this was in the paperwork. Trisomy G was all over this paperwork. And she ended up naming her kid Trig. Tri-G. Anyway, you don't have to fucking buy into that. That's just, I'm not even necessarily 100% bought into that. But she is the kind of person that is stupid enough that looking over the paperwork, she would think, oh, you know what? Try-G. That's not bad. Trig. We'll just call him Trig. We're going to flaunt the fact that God has done this to someone. And I've volunteered, by the way, for the Central Florida Down Syndrome Society. I when I was in high school, I worked with handicapped kids all the time. I am very passionate about that. When I call someone a retard, it's not an insult to the actual handicapped. It's an insult to the person I'm talking to. And that's just so you understand that. I mean, obviously, I'm not here to make fun of handicapped people. I have a lot of respect and love. I do not, however, have a lot of respect and love for people who are just ignorant and they get all this airtime and bullshit like that. They get respect. They have people actually agreeing with them. It drives me absolutely apeshit. And that's why I make these fucking videos. If I didn't make these videos, I would sit at home all day doing this.